Okay, something huge is happening over at Amazon, and believe me, it's sending a massive shockwave through the entire tech world. So, what's really driving these changes? And, more importantly, what does it all signal for the future of work? Let's dive in and figure it out. 30,000. That is the staggering number of corporate jobs Amazon is reportedly cutting. Just let that sink in for a second. This isn't just some number on a spreadsheet. It's a pretty seismic shift happening inside one of the most powerful companies on the planet. And to really put that into perspective for you, this is the single largest corporate layoff in Amazon's entire history. It's a total landmark event, and we really need to understand what's truly going on behind the scenes. So first up, let's take a closer look at Amazon's historic layoff. Because these cuts, they're not random at all. They're a really targeted reckoning happening right inside the company's corporate and tech divisions. To really get the impact here, you need a little bit of context. Amazon is an absolute behemoth. It's the second largest private employer in the US with over 1.5 million employees globally. But see, the vast majority of those jobs, they're in warehouses. These 30,000 layoffs are hitting its 350,000 strong corporate workforce, and they're happening across almost every single division. But here's the thing. Amazon's story isn't happening in a vacuum. Nope. It's actually a key part of a much bigger, industry-wide trend that is reshaping the entire tech landscape as we speak. Just look at these numbers. 2023 was a brutal year for tech, with over 250,000 jobs cut. But the correction, it's not over. So far this year, we're already closing in on 100,000 layoffs. The belt-tightening is for sure happening across the whole industry. And it is absolutely not just Amazon. Yeah, they're leading the pack with 30,000 cuts, but other tech titans like Intel and Microsoft are also shedding tens of thousands of jobs. This is not just one company's problem. It is a full-on industry-wide reset. So this all leads to the big question, right? Why is this happening? And why now? What are the real driving forces behind this massive wave of layoffs? Well, according to Amazon CEO Andy Jassy, it's a strategy with a few different parts. For one, they're on a major cost-cutting campaign and are trying to simplify their corporate structure. They're also flattening the organization, which is basically corporate speak for removing layers of middle management to speed up decisions. But there's one more factor here. A technology that is, changing everything. And there it is, straight from the CEO himself. Jassy has explicitly said that with the rise of generative AI, that's the AI that can create brand new content like text, images, and even code, the company will simply need fewer people for certain jobs. This right here is the crucial point. It's not just about the economy. It's a strategic pivot toward an AI-integrated workforce. And you know what? Amazon isn't alone here. Salesforce CEO Mark Benioff pointed to the exact same reason, that's increasing AI adoption, when his company cut 4,000 customer support roles. The pattern is becoming crystal clear across the entire industry. So what does all this mean for the road ahead? Well, we're getting a fascinating and maybe a little unsettling glimpse into the future of the AI-powered workforce. This is really important. In a memo to his staff, Jassy said he expects this trend to continue, reducing the total corporate workforce over the next few years. So this isn't a one-and-done adjustment. It's the very beginning of a long-term transformation. All right, so let's just recap the big picture here. Amazon's historic layoff is a huge landmark event, but it's also a symptom of a much larger tech industry correction. And this whole correction is being fueled by two really powerful engines: a relentless drive for efficiency, and the strategic adoption of artificial intelligence. And that leaves us with one final and pretty provocative question. We are literally witnessing AI move from being some theoretical tool to being a core member of the corporate team, one that is actively reshaping how companies are built. The real question for all of us is, what does that mean for everyone else? Amazon is pretty much at the center of global commerce. But behind all those packages and delivery trucks, there's a huge shift happening. And it's a shift that could honestly redefine the future of work for a lot of us. So today, we're going to break down exactly what is going on, and more importantly, why you should care. So let's start with a number: 30,000. Now, that's not packages shipped or new products. Nope. That's the number of corporate, white-collar jobs that Amazon is reportedly cutting. And it's happening right as AI is stepping in to fill that gap. And just to be super clear, this isn't just your standard round of layoffs. what we're looking at is a genuinely historic moment for Amazon, and it's pointing to a much, much bigger change happening just under the surface. I mean, to really put this in perspective, we're talking about the single largest corporate job cut in the company's entire history. For a company that was literally built on the idea of nonstop growth, a move like this isn't just a small course correction. It's a total 180. Now that 30,000 number, it sounds massive all by itself, right? But it really clicks when you see it right next to the total corporate staff, which is around 350,000 people. This is a huge, very deliberate cut from a very specific part of the company. So that slice comes out to about 9 to 10%. Just think about that for a second. That means nearly 1 out of every 10 people working in Amazon's corporate offices could be impacted. It's a huge reduction that's absolutely going to be felt all across the company. Okay, so the big question is, where exactly are these cuts happening? Are they just trimming a division that's been struggling? Well, the answer really shows just how deep this new strategy goes. Yeah, this isn't just one team. The cuts are happening across some really core departments. We're talking HR, which Amazon calls PXT for People, Experience, and Technology, all the way to operations, the Alexa and devices team, and even parts of the incredibly profitable Amazon Web Services. This is a fundamental restructure, not just a little trim here and there. But why? Why is all of this happening right now? This isn't just about cutting costs to save a few bucks. It's a major pivot toward a new kind of technology that is changing literally everything. It is all about AI. The specific tech driving this is what's called generative AI agents. The easiest way to think about them is as automated systems that can do really complex corporate jobs, analyzing reports, managing projects, tasks that, like just yesterday, you needed a person sitting in an office to do. This is the engine behind the change we're seeing. And hey, don't just take my word for it. This is not speculation. Amazon's own CEO, Andy Jassy, basically connected the dots for us. He said that the rollout of generative AI is going to directly reduce the need for some corporate roles. So yeah, this strategy is coming straight from the top. Okay, but here's where the story gets really, really interesting. Because while Amazon is shrinking its corporate staff, it is massively expanding in another area. It's creating this kind of tale of two very different workforces. I mean, the contrast here is just wild. Look at this. On one side, you have 30,000 corporate jobs getting wiped out, and on the other, a massive expansion. We're talking 250,000 seasonal frontline workers for the holidays. So Amazon is firing and hiring at the exact same time, just for totally different kinds of jobs. So what's the big takeaway here? It's a massive strategic shift in where they put their resources. Amazon is making a very clear choice. They're prioritizing the frontline workforce, the folks in the warehouses and on the delivery routes, while actively automating the work that happens in their corporate offices. And what Amazon's doing here, well, it forces us to ask a much bigger question. Is this just their story? Or is this actually a sneak peek of what's coming for the entire tech industry? And, maybe for the future of your job too. So it leaves us with this really provocative question, doesn't it? Is this the new playbook for big tech? Automate the office and hire for the warehouse? It's a huge question. And Amazon's move doesn't just suggest this future is on its way. It kind of suggests it's already here.